Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're bringing you issue 20 of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine today. This issue came with a Stormcast Eternals Lord-Arcanum on Gryph-charger and an Evocator-Prime. And this is one of the sprues from the Soul Wars box set. If you want to skip straight ahead to the battle report, there will be a timecode in the description. There'll also be a timecode to skip to where we're going to have a look at the whole collection so far over the first 20 issues. But actually having a look inside the issue first, we've got the background of the Lord-Arcanum. These are the leaders of the Stormcast Eternals Sacrosanct Chambers, and they are both mighty warriors and wizards. They channel the energies of the storm, and they are the most powerful wizards in the Sacrosanct Chambers. And over the page we see their different mount options. There's the Gryph-charger there, as we've got with this issue, the Taurolon, which is a sort of goat-like winged beast, and a Celestial Dracoline, which is a cat-lizard hybrid creature of sorts. Then Evocators, these are a different kind of warrior mage, that rather than blasting their foes with bolts of lightning, they channel it within themselves and use it to empower their attacks and strike out with it against foes in close combat, for the most part. They have a couple of different weapon options. Some of them carry Grand Staves, whereas some carry Tempest Blades and Storm Staves. Gives a short overview of some of their abilities there, and also mentions that they also can ride on Celestial Dracolines. Then we've got the build instructions for our new Stormcast models. These are both push-fit miniatures, so you don't need glue to put them together, although it can help if you want them to keep them together. Quite simple. The Lord-Arcanum is a little bit more involved. It's a larger model.
The most inconvenient part of the Lord-Arcanum is not bending his staff, because it's part of his robe, and then you have to stick his hand into his wrist. It's not the most convenient thing to put together, but it's relatively easy.
Then we have our painting instructions for them, which are, there's nothing new here compared to our old Stormcast, just that the Lord-Arcanum is a much larger model than all the ones we've had before. They do for some reason tell you to undercoat the entire model with gold, even though large parts of it are not going to be metallic at all. Then we have the usual wash and dry brush, painting all his robes with white and blue, and the Gryph-charger itself is painted entirely with white, and the Evocator-Prime likewise. Then we have another section to add more detail to your Stormcast Eternals, and this is adding lead belcher to all the metal areas, swords and bits of crossbows on the castigators, for example. And also adding corn red to the quilted jackets that the artillery crewmen have, and also the handles of various weapons across the Stormcast collection. And here are the finished models, at least as far as the painting instructions they give us so far. That's it for our issue overview, so we're going to have a look at the entire collection now. And here we have the complete collection for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms magazine so far, up to issue 20. But here you can see the Stormcast Eternals collection on the left, and the Nighthaunt collection on the right, and the assortment of terrain at the back. All set out on the large double-sided battle mat that we've been using since issue 4. Also pictured is the small battle mat that we got with the very first issue that some of the games have been played on. Having a closer look at the Stormcast Eternals, we got a total of 3 heroes and 21 other models. In the front row here, moving from right to left, first we have Zandria Asdrubalt, the special Knight Encounter miniature exclusive to this magazine. Then in the middle we have a Lord-Arcanum on Gryph-charger. To the left of him, a Knight Questor. And then, not a hero, but we have an Evocator-Prime miniature, who will later be joined by some more members of his unit. And then the other models, in the first rank we have 9 Sequitors. The 3 on the right are the easy to build Sequitors, and then we have 2 sets of push-fit Sequitors from 2 copies of the same sprue from the Soul Wars box set. And then in the rear, 7 Castigators. The 3 in the middle are the easy-to-build Castigator set, complete with a Gryph-hound. And on the right, 4 more Castigators coming from the same Soul Wars sprues as the Sequitors. And on the left is an easy-to-build Celestar Ballista with 2 crew. And now the Nighthaunt part of the collection. For the Nighthaunt we got 8 hero models and 29 other miniatures. For the heroes, starting from the left, we have a Tomb Banshee. Then at the front there is a Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed, and behind him 2 easy-to-build Dreadblade Harrows. On the right in the front, a Spirit Torment and a Guardian of Souls. These are from the same sprue as the Knight of Shrouds, which is another one of those from Soul Wars. And in the back right, the Briar Queen from the Thorns of the Briar Queen set. And looking at everything else, on the front row on the right are the Thorns of the Briar Queen from that same set. Then in the middle, 4 easy-to-build Glavewraith Stalkers. To their left, 4 easy-to-build Miremorn Banshees. And then in the rear, on the left, 10 Chain Rasps. And finally on the right, 5 Dreadscythe Harridans. And then for scenery with the collection so far, we have got a complete Sigmarite Mausoleum set. So first here we've got the 3 Mausoleum buildings themselves with their scenic bases. And then completing the set, a gate and set of walls and fences, and finally a statue. So that is all the miniatures we've got with the magazine so far. You'll also see in the middle we have 12 dice and a plastic 12-inch range ruler. And not pictured, but also received with the magazine, we got a second double-sided large battle mat, which features the Realm of Life on one side and a continuation of the other side of this battle mat on the other. But we'll see that in episodes to come. A starter brush and a medium dry brush, and 11 paints. That's it for our look at the collection, so we'll get into this issue's playthrough.
So we're on to our battle for this issue, and Zandria Azurebolt and Anastasia Shawstrike have finally found the relic staff they've been searching for, and now need to evacuate it. Luckily, the Lord-Arcanum Borin Glorymantle has arrived with yet more Stormcast reinforcements, but finally the leader of the Nighthaunt, the Knight of Shrouds, has shown himself and come to face off against the Lord-Arcanum. So you can see we have the Knight of Shrouds and 10 Chainmasks facing off against the Lord-Arcanum and the 5 Secretors in the graveyard. So just over here on the left we got an overview of all the rules we've learned so far in previous issues, and also we have the command abilities we learned about in the last issue. Then we have our new war scrolls. So first up for the Lord-Arcanum on Gryph-charger. So he's got a 12-inch move, 7 wounds, 3+ save. He's got his staff, and his mount can also fight. You can see there stat lines. And going on to his abilities, so he's a hero. He has an ability called Cycle of the Storm, which is when a friendly Stormcast model is slain within 18 inches of him. Instead of removing the model, you can choose to heal 1 wound allocated to it, but he can't use that on himself. And he's also a wizard, so he knows Arcane Bolt, which is cast in the same way as the other wizards we've seen so far, but he is a slightly better version because he's a Prime Electride ability, so when he manifests it he does D3 damage and D6 damage if he rolls a 10+ as opposed to 1 and D3. Then we have the Knight of Shrouds, so he's kind of similar to a Dreadblade. He's got 1 more wound, and he's got his Sword of Stolen Hours, so it's 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, and Marshal Rend 2 damage, and his horse is exactly the same as the Dreadblade's ones. He has the Ethereal and Fly rules like every other Nighthaunt unit, and he's also a hero, so you can use command abilities, and his Sword of Stolen Hours means that if he kills an enemy hero, he regains a wound. And there's another important new rule we'll be learning in this issue. So I believe we learned about battle rounds in the previous issue, so after each player has taken a turn is a full battle round, but at the start of each battle round we now roll off, and the player who wins gets to choose who goes first in the battle round. But it does mention that this can mean that a player can end up getting 2 turns in a row, so if they go second in one battle round and first in the next one. It also says that if there is a tie in the roll-off, then the player who went first in the previous round gets to choose who goes first. But otherwise, the tutorial's pretty much in the same vein as all of the other ones we've seen so far. And we also get the stat line for the new Evocator-Prime, and he is the Evocator-Prime, so he gets the extra attack as mentioned. So they get 3 wounds each, and they get 4 attacks with their melee weapons, which is actually quite deadly. And they have an aura that lets them reroll save rolls of 1 against missile attacks. So they also have a chance to do mortal wounds to things after they fight. We might only play this game once, but if we do play it again, we won't be using the Evocator-Prime, so we'll be seeing him in a later issue. And just on the back page you've got a preview of what's coming up, as we'll be shifting over to the Realm of Life board in all subsequent episodes. But with all that over, let's get into the game. So we're set up on the graveyard map with the Knight of Shrouds and the Chainmasks over on the right, and the Lord-Arcanum and his 5 Secretors on the left. So at the start of the first battle round we need to roll off to see who gets to choose who goes first. Oh, I got a 1.
And I got a 6. So I think I'll actually go second, because what I don't want to happen is I don't want to go first and you get 2 turns in a row and you might actually be able to reach me without me being able to do anything about it. So I'm going to make you go first.
So at the start of my turn I'll gain a command point. First up in my movement phase, the Chainmasks are going to run. An extra 3. I'll take that, there's no rush quite yet. So Chainmasks are moved up there 9 inches, and then the Knight of Shrouds has just moved up behind them so he doesn't get arcane bolted by the Lord-Arcanum. But that'll be my turn, on to the Stormcast turn.
In my hero phase, I gain a command point. So to start off in my hero phase, I can cast Arcane Bolt with the Lord-Arcanum, and it will hit the Chainmasks because they are closer, and it still doesn't have a range listed on the war scroll, so it's unlimited effectively. So he still needs a 5, he just does more damage if it goes off. Oh, a 4. Well, it's not going to go off then, is it?
Yeah.
And I can't re-roll that, so on to the movement phase. My Secretors are going to move up a little bit because, again, have to consider the possibility of one side or the other getting 2 turns in a row. This makes it a long charge for the Nighthaunt, but I've also brought the Lord-Arcanum up close to them so that if the Knight of Shrouds does get a long charge off, he will have to be careful not to fight both. That's it for my turn.
Yeah, and then we'll be on to the second battle round. Rolling off once again. I covered 1.
Oh, 1 again.
I went first last turn, I get to choose to go first this turn. I will choose to go first again. And in my hero phase, I'll gain a command point. So in my turn, what's going to happen is my forces are just going to move up normally, so that they're far enough away from the fence, so that the Stormcast can't fight through the fence, and there isn't a big enough space on the other side for the Stormcast to fit, so they need a much longer charge to get to us. But that'll be my turn, and be on to the Stormcast turn.
Try Arcane Bolt again, hoping for more than a 4. Oh, getting a 9.
And also gaining a command
Oh,
point.
that's
before
true, yeah. So it's not quite the big version, but it is D3 mortal wounds because he has of his prime electrodes or whatever it is. Just 1.
Guess we'll take away that one.
And then we're just going to move back a little bit because the Nighthaunt will be able to charge if they go first next turn. I don't want that to happen.
Yes, and also in the Battle Shock phase, the Chainmasts have to make a Battle Shock test because they took a casualty and only Bravery 6. But I'm just going to spend a command point to not risk losing another one, so I'll be down to 1 command point. And at the start of Battle Round 3, we roll off. Oh, I got a 2.
Oh, 3.
Right.
I will make you go first again because I can't make a charge if I do go first.
I think we're just going to have to go for it, so everyone's going to move up normally, and the Knight of Shrouds is going to go ahead of the Chainmasts because you can just fly over them or through them. And then in the charge phase, I'll start with the Chainmasts. Are they going to try and charge somebody? So you're going to need a fairly big roll to be able to get into range of anything. Oh, a 10 is easily enough. So the Chainmasts are going to finish their charge, so they're all going to be able to get into contact with the Secretors, and then the Knight of Shrouds is also going to charge. Yeah, he gets 9, that's definitely going to be enough to get into contact with somebody. So he's going to go after the Secretors, and in the combat phase I'm going to pick him to fight first. So first up we've got 4 attacks with the Sword of Stolen Hours, 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, nothing at all. And then he's got his horse, which has 2 attacks hitting on 4s. Gets a single hit. That wounds on a 5. Oh, that wounded.
No rend, so 4+ save for rolling ones. Then I get to pick, and I suppose I'll pick the Secretors to fight while they're at full strength. We're going to put these 2 on the Knight of Shrouds, because he's more dangerous, and everybody else has to fight the Chainmasts, well, apart from this guy at the back, because he's not in range of anything, and I couldn't pile him in. We'll do the Great Mace on the Chainmasts first. 2 attacks on 3s. 1 hit, but it's for D3. Well, still only 1. It wounds on a 3. That's a wound.
5+ save. Nope, so that's going to be 2 dead Chainmasts at the end.
Then we've got 3 from the Prime on the Chainmasts, which hit on 3s, so 2. Wounds on 3s, 2.
5 pluses. Fail both, so 2 more dead Chainmasts.
Then we'll do the 4 attacks with normal maces on the Knight of Shrouds, which hit on 3s, that's only 2. And wound on 3s, for 2.
4+ save. Made 1 third one, so he's down to 5 wounds. Yeah, so Knight of Shrouds is down to 5 and 4 Chainmasts die, so I'll just take these 4 off the back. And next the Chainmasts get to go, and I'm going to put all their attacks on the Secretors, just try and thin them out. And there's 4 Chainmasts plus the Dreadwarden, so you have 11 attacks hitting on 4s, 5 hits, and 3 wounds.
4+ saves, 3 rolling ones. I failed 2, so that would be enough to kill 1 Secretor, but I can use the Lord-Arcanum's ability. He's slain, but then I can use the ability to bring him back with a wound remaining. And finally, the Lord-Arcanum gets to go. He's going to pile in this way. He's going to try and get around the back so we can get closer to the Knight of Shrouds. So we'll start with his staff, which has 4 attacks, which hit on 3s, 3 hits, and wound on 3s, 2 wounds.
5+ saves for the Chainmasts. Made neither, so that's 2d3 damage.
For 5 in total.
It's going to be enough to wipe them out.
So I would be able to do his mount attacks as well, but 5 is enough to wipe them out, so there's no need.
Yeah, so that's the end of the Nighthaunt turn. It's on to the Stormcast turn.
So in the hero phase, I gain command point, and we'll be doing Arcane Bolt. Hitting a 5, getting a 6, so it does go off, and does D3 mortal wounds for 2 to the Knight of Shrouds.
So he's down to 3.
And the Lord-Arcanum will move to 3 inches away, and in the charge phase, he will charge. And he rolls a 7. So he'll come round the corner like that, then we're on to the combat phase, and I will actually pick the Secretors to fight first, because they can pile in an attack. So they'll pile in like that. These two, well, this one was in base contact, but you can pile in as long as you remain in base contact in Age of Sigmar. Yeah, so this guy over here still can't attack, but everyone else can. We'll start with the Great Mace. 2 attacks on 3s, 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 1.
4+ save. Made it.
And then we've got 7 attacks from normal Stormsmite Mauls, which get 5 hits. Wound on 3s, only 2.
I will live. 4+ save. Made on failed ones, he's down to 2. I'm going to have him attack the Lord-Arcanum, just to be cheeky and see if I can kill him. 4 attacks with the sword, hitting on 3s, getting 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. Oh, 3 wounds.
Ren -1, so I'm on a 4+ save. Oh, I've only made 1, so it takes 4 damage.
4 damage. And then the hooves from the horse, hitting on 4s, get a hit. And wound on 5s, get a wound.
No Rendo, so 3+. Yeah, he's fine.
So Lord-Arcanum's down to 3, where he gets to hit back.
Start with his staff, 4 attacks on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
4+ save. Made one failed one, D3 damage.
For 2.
Yeah. So the Knight of Shrouds will die, and that'll be a victory for the Stormcast. Do another round of this, see if I can actually kill any models in that game. So we're set up once again in the same way, and we'll be rolling off to see who gets to go first. Oh, I got a 6, so I think I will go first. So I'll gain a command point. Chainrasps are going to run like last time. I need to go an extra 1, so I'm actually going to spend my command point to make that a 6. So my turn, the Chainrasps have moved up, they're 12 inches, and the Knight of Shrouds has just moved directly behind that wall. But with all that, it'll be on to the Stormcast turn.
I gain a command point, and I'm going to cast Arcane Bolt. Yes, that goes off with a 7, doing D3 mortal wounds, 3 to the Chainrasps.
So we'll take away these 3.
Then the Lord-Arcanum is going to move all the way over there, and then the Secretors are going to run. So rolling for them a 5, so they get to go 10 inches. So they'll end up over there.
The Chainrasps have to make a battle shock test, adding 3. So I got a 5, so 2 more will run away. Take away these 2. Rolling off at the start of the battle round. You win.
I will make you go first, I think, because I won't be able to move up and charge very easily.
We've moved up normally to get over the fence, and then we're going to declare some charges. I'll start with the Knight of Shrouds. He gets a 7. That's enough to get him within half an inch of the Secretors. And then the Chainrasps will declare a charge. The Chainrasps get a 7. So I realised, just as I was rolling it, that I should have rolled them first, so I could have re-rolled their charge with the Knight of Shrouds' Forward to Glory ability, but luckily that 7 inches is just enough to get the Dreadwarden within half an inch of that Secretor with the big mace. And we're going to stay 3 inches away from the Lord-Arcanum. So I'm going to pick the Knight of Shrouds to go first in the combat phase, and I'm just going to pile him around, make it a bit harder for the other Secretors to get him into combat. So we have 4 attacks with the Sword of Stolen Hours, getting 3 hits, wounding on 3s, they all wound.
Yeah, 3 5+ saves for your rolling 1s. There's a 1, I've failed all of them so far. Okay, failed all of them, so 2 damage each.
Yes, that's 6 damage so far. And then we got the Horse, gets to try and trample some people, hitting on a 4, gets a hit, wounds on a 5. What? Horse is really good.
4+? Yeah.
Oh.
So that does 6 damage, so we can have to kill 3, so I will kill these 2 that are fighting him, but then when this one is slain I can use the Lord-Arcanum's ability to keep her on 1 wound.
And then the Secretors will get to pile in and fight.
And we'll pile in like that. These 2 have to attack the Chainrasps because they were closer, so they can't pile in to get towards the Knight of Shrouds. But this one was closer to the Knight of Shrouds, so she will pile in over here and attack him. We'll do that random Secretor on the Knight of Shrouds, I suppose. 1 hit on 3s, wound on a 3. That's a wound.
4+ save. Failed, so he's down to 5 wounds.
Then the Great Mace on the Chainrasps. Thank you. 1 hit. Wounds on a 3, yeah.
5+. Yeah.
And Prime on the Chainrasps gets 2 hits. And wounds on 3s. Oh, no double 2.
Oh, all the Chainrasps live. So the Chainrasps get to pile in and still stay 3 inches away from the big man on the big ridey thing. And we're going to get 11 attacks because we've got 4 guys plus the Dreadwarden. 11 attacks hitting on 4s. 4 hits wounding on 4s. 2 wounds.
4+ saves for rolling 1s. Oh, no, we're alright.
Secretors have to make a battle shock test, I think for the first time in this series.
Yeah, because they lost 2 and they only have a bravery of 7, but I'm going to spend my command point to ignore it with Inspiring Presence.
Makes sense, because nothing else to spend your command points on. And that'll be the end of the Nighthaunt turn, and on to the Stormcast turn.
So I gain a command point, and we're going to do Arcane Bolt. Which, with an 11.
Yeah, getting an 11, so that's going to be D6 mortal wounds.
Yep. Oh.
The massive blast of energy kills a single chain rasp. So take away that one.
And then he'll move to there, 3 inches away from these everything, and then he'll declare a charge. Needing not a 2, that's a 6. So he'll move in like that, and I will fight with him first, I think, because he might kill the Secretary off if he gets to go. So we've got 4 attacks with the staff, hitting on 3s. Only 1 hit. It wounds on a 3. That did wound.
4+. Ooh, made it.
And then we've got 3 attacks from his Gryph-charger, which hit on 3s. 1, and it wounds on a
3.
No.
So I'm going to pick the Knight of Shrouds to go next and see if we can finish off some of the Secretors. We've got 4 attacks with our Sword of Stolen Hours. Ooh, hitting on 3s, only getting 2. And wounding on 3s, and only getting 1.
And I get a 5+ save for rolling 1s. That's a 1. That's 5.
Hey. And then 2 attacks from the horse, getting a hit on 4s. Wounding on a 5, fails to win this time.
And then the Secretors get to go, and this one will pile in there like that so she can get in range to attack the chain rasps. We'll start with the mace, the great mace though, so 1 hit on 3s, wounds on 3, nope, and then Storm Smite move on 3s, and 2s everywhere, wounding on 3s, 1.
5+, no. And we'll take away that one, and then they get to fight back. 7 attacks from the chain rasp, sitting on 4s, getting 3 hits, wounding on 4s. Getting 2.
4+ saves with rolling 1s. 5 or 6, alright.
Chain rasp will have to take a battle shock test, but I'll just spend a command point to not take it. And that'll be the end of the battle round, so we'll be rolling off for the next one. It's a tie, and I went first last turn, so I get to choose. So I will go first. It's my turn, so I get to pick who fights first. I'm going to pick the Knight of Shrouds to go first, and he's going to attack the Secretors. 4 attacks hitting on 3s, getting 3, and then wounding on 3s, getting 1.
5+ save, rerolling 1s. I've saved it.
And the mount hitting on 4s, it gets a hit. Wounds on a 5. Oh, it does.
4+ save. So I suppose I'll go with the Secretors so they can hit the chain rasps first, although this one here will have to fight Knight of Shrouds because she can't pile in any further. I'll do the Great Mace on the Secretors, on the chain rasps, because it might hit her, so that's 1 plus a d3 hits for 4 hits in total. Wounding on 3s, 2.
5+ saves. Well, I made 1, so there'll be just the Dread Warden left at the end.
And then the Prime gets 2 hits and wounds on 3s. Only 1.
5+. Oh, Dread Warden's still there.
And then the other Secretary on the... is clearly very scared because she got double 1 to hit the Knight Shrouds.
These 2 chain rasps will die, leaving just the Dread Warden, who gets to go next, and he will pile in to get both of those Secretors into base contact. Hitting on 4s, getting 2 hits, wounding on 4s, getting 1.
4+ save, rerolling 1s, 2.
So it will kill that wounded Secretary, but she can just be brought back to life by the Lord-Arcanum. And then the Lord-Arcanum will get to go.
So 4 attacks from his staff, hitting on 3s, 2 hits, that's an improvement, wounding on 3s, and they're both wounded.
4+ saves, made 1, failed 1.
So D3 damage, 1.
So Knight of Shrouds will go down to 4 wounds.
And his mount gets to attack, 3 attacks on 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 3s, no.
Another double 1. But that'll be the end of the Nighthaunt turn, where I will spend a command point to keep the Dread Warden in the fight, so he's going to take a battle shock test, and then it'll be on to the Stormcast turn.
Gain command point, and then we're going to Arcane Bolt. Not with that, we're not.
No.
So straight to fighting, I get to pick first. We'll do the Lord-Arcanum on the Knight of Shrouds this time, because I'm not that scared of the Dread Warden by himself. 4 attacks from himself, hitting on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 1.
4+ save, yeah, it's definitely a 4.
And 3 attacks from the Gryph-charger, which hit on 3s, 2, and wound on 3s, 1.
4+, made that as well. So I'm going to pick the Dread Warden to go, because he's probably going to get mushed by the Great Mace, and if he manages to get a wound through, he'll use up the Lord-Arcanum's revival ability. So he has 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, getting 1, where he needs 1. Wounds on 4, oh it doesn't, never mind.
Then the Secretors get to go. These 2 here have to fight the Dread Warden, and this one has to fight the Knight of Shrouds. So Knight of Shrouds, 3s. She still can't hit him. Great Mace on the... Great Mace, 1 and 2 as well. Right, it's all down to the Prime. Kill that Dread Warden. She got 2 hits. Wounds on 3s. 2 wounds.
Oh, come on, Dread Warden, double 5. No, there's a 3 in the box. I won't bother with the other one, so he'll die. And finally the Knight of Shrouds gets to go, and he'll attack the Secretors as well. So we've got 4 attacks from the Sword of Stolen Hours, hitting on 3s, getting 3. And wounding on 3s, getting 3.
Needing 5s to save, rerolling 1s. Ooh, double 6 and a 2. So 2 damage, well, in the pool.
And the horse gets 1 hit, wounds on a 5, does not. So what happens here is 2 damage will be done to the Secretors. So the wounded Secretor will take a wound and die, at which point she can be revived by the Lord-Arcanum on 1 wound, and then she will take another wound and die.
Yeah, because even though the weapon does 2 damage, wounds are allocated 1 at a time, so the end result being she dies.
Yeah. And finally, the Lord-Arcanum on Gryph-charger gets to go.
4 attacks with his stick, which hit on 3s. Still can't hit very well. Wounds on 3s. 2 wounds.
4+ save. Made both.
And the Gryph-charger 3s. 1 and 3. Nope.
And that'll be the end of the Nighthaunt turn and on to the Stormcast turn.
Getting a command point for what it's worth and an arcane bolt. Needing a 5. Right, it gets it off at last. It does D3 mortal wounds. 1.
So Knight of Shrouds is down to 3.
So, yeah, we'll start with the Secretors because it's unlikely you're going to kill the Lord-Arcanum in 1 round of combat, whereas the Secretors you could. So they will pile in like that, and then we'll attack with the Great Mace first. Needing 3s. Oh, dear. Prime on 3s. Right, she hits 3 times. And wounds on 3s. Just 1.
4+ save. Made it. So the Knight of Shrouds will get to go, and we're going to switch targets. We're going to go for the Lord-Arcanum, and hopefully I'll win the roll-off. So 4 attacks with the Sword of Stolen Hours, hitting on 3s, getting 3, and wounding on 3s, getting 1.
A 4+ save, and -1. Oh, it failed. So just
2 damage. And the horse with a 2 sits on 4s, hits, wounds on 5. So the Lord-Arcanum will go down to 5 wounds, and then he will get to fight.
4 attacks on 3s. Still 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. Nothing. And the mount, 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. 1 wound.
4+ save. Failed. Down to 2 wounds. And that'll be the end of the battle round, so we'll be rolling off again.
5.
Oh, 1.
Well, I'll definitely go first.
Yeah, makes sense.
Arcane bolt. Ooh, a 10. That's the big version.
It's got to be finishing him off.
Yeah, anything but a 1. That's a 6.
But that'll be enough to kill the Knight of Shrouds. And that'll be another victory for the Stormcast. So I think we'll leave it there, and we'll recap these games for you now. So that was the playthrough of the battle for issue 20 of Age of Sigmar Mortal Realms. How did you think that went?
Well, obviously pretty well for the Stormcast. I think probably 5 Secretors and a Lord-Arcanum or Gryph-charger are better than 10 Chain Rasps and a Knight of Shrouds on a Ethereal Steed. And at least in the second game, if I hadn't rolled quite so poorly for all my attacks with the Lord-Arcanum, it would have been over sooner than that. Well, the Knight of Shrouds, to be fair, he didn't roll that well all the time either. I think in the first game, he fluffed all his wounds in the first charge.
Yeah, I mean, on paper at least, the Lord-Arcanum versus Knight of Shrouds, they're about equal in combat themselves. It's the Gryph-charger in theory should tip the balance, but being able to, it's the big arcane bolt. You get D3 and then D6 will easily tip the balance. And the ability to stop one of your models dying. I mean, I guess in theory it's really just sort of stopping 1 wound per turn, but if you're stopping out an entire model from dying, it doesn't matter how many wounds they're on, so you get more attacks out, but it's quite a nice ability of it. And it's a really long range as well. You get 18 inches.
It's a bit confusing the way wording is exactly how it works. It says when a model is slain, you can
heal a wound.
On it, but then because wounds are allocated 1 at a time, that wound could then immediately disappear again if there's more damage yet to be allocated. So
maybe on Secretors is not used, but I believe it does work on characters as well. So keeping like a Knight Questor in the back or a Knight Incantor is going to be huge, I think, keeping them alive.
Yeah, because the only thing it says is you can't use it on himself. It doesn't say anything about other characters.
And both of these characters do have abilities that we don't know about yet. The Knight of Shrouds has an ability I think lets him give a friendly unit an extra attack per model, which would be good on Chain Rasp. That's another 10 attacks, but he doesn't have that, so he's just a sort of beefed up Dreadblade at the moment. And the Lord-Arcanum, so eventually Secretors and a lot of the Sacrosanct Chamber units have an ability where they can channel power to their weapons or their shields or whatever, and he allows you to do both options. Usually you get a choice of 2 and he allows you to do both, which for the Secretors means they can reroll misses and saves, which is pretty good. And they're rolling off at the start of the battle round, so you get to go first. It is important. I imagine in small games like this, getting to go first is huge, especially seeing as there's basically just 1 fight. But I imagine it'd be especially important in games where there are objectives, because if you're scoring objectives at the end of the battle round, then going second means you can react and your opponent can't.
If you have a lot more units than this, then I imagine the ability to go twice where, for example, as the Stormcast, you get to cast all your spells and then shoot and then do it all again before the other player has a chance.
Yeah, I imagine getting the second cast of spells, being able to move twice as well, actually I think is important. Being able to establish board control, potentially, or limit where your opponent can move. I imagine there are situations where you would want to go second. Say, there might be spells that last until the end of your next phase as opposed to the next phase, so you might get more duration out of spells.
It's a big part of the game. Well, it's a huge part of the game, really. It's kind of how the game works, so it's nice that we know about that eventually.
I imagine there's definitely going to be games that will be decided by that, which I guess could be annoying. Rolling a dice to decide who wins rather than... Well, I guess at the end of the day, the whole game is based around lots of die rolls, so can't get too mad about it.
We've kind of got to that point now where we're nearly at the full rule set, I guess. At least the core rule set.
Yeah, and once we'll probably start learning sort of more faction unique stuff now that we've got the basics done. And talking about the models, quite like both of them. The Lord-Arcanum on the Gryph-charger is quite imposing, and he goes really well with the Knight of Shrouds, actually. Sort of the mirrored pose, one facing the left, one facing to the right.
Yeah, well, they are, of course, the two opposing commanders in Soul Wars box set, which is, I think, why they're designed like this. So they do actually match up quite nicely against each other.
And the Evocator-Prime is a pretty cool model. We'll certainly see him later on. I guess it's probably not worth talking too much about Evocators, but they do certainly look on paper like quite a deadly unit. Getting extra mortal wounds is going to be annoying to deal with.
Alright, speaking of later games, this is the last one we will see on the graveyard section with all this...
We'll be moving on to the realm of Life board.
This board has been fine for a starting board, I suppose. It compares favourably to Warhammer 40,000 Conquest, where we were on a half-size board compared to this for the first 20 issues. There's more terrain.
Well, you say more terrain, but really most of it is in one half, and most of the time you're fighting in the clear half.
Yeah, it hasn't been that relevant, but I guess it looks all right. Obviously, we also saw all the collection so far earlier. I think it's quite a good foundation for two armies to start with. A decent spread of heroes and basic troops, I suppose you could say, for both sides so far.
Yeah, decent amount of variety. Certainly for the Nighthaunt, I would have said more than the Stormcast. You kind of stuck with Secretors and Castigators, but they're pretty good. So
that's true, and they do have some interesting heroes. Yeah, I think there has been more variety than that. You've got a number of different kinds of units and a number of different kinds of heroes that do different things. We haven't really seen all of that variety on the battlefield so much, I think. We've seen a lot of Secretors versus Chain Rasps, plus one hero each side.
Yeah, usually the Night Questor.
I think possibly by this point, issue 20, we could have been trusted to have more than 2 units per side.
And I would say, actually, I'm not feeling the narrative so much. It's just a sort of nebulous find the MacGuffin stick. And looking at Conquest, you had the invasion of a Space Marine ship, but there was like a named commander on each side, and it came up to the climactic battle. Whereas here, it kind of feels like every other battle, just with the two leaders that we haven't seen up until this point.
The story, certainly for the last 10 issues, has been, the Stormcast are still trying to find the magic stick, and the Nighthunt's done stop them. And someone else has turned up new this week.
Yeah, and I think we did have more units in the Conquest issue 20, but they probably were small. I think some of the units were sort of 5 men at the most, so it's probably a similar number of models in total.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I don't think there's too much more to say about this issue and this battle, so if you've been liking this content, please leave a like and subscribe, and if you have any comments on how the collection's been going up to this point and what your views have been, and how you've been getting on with it, we'd like to know. It is interesting to read the comments, so leave them down below. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.